Okay. Hello, tea friends. We are sitting here in the north of Thailand, me and Olivier Schneider, in his beautiful home here, and yeah, having a tea together, and also a little talk. Tea with friends. Olivier, when and where did you get into tea?
Oh, wow, that's kind of a long time ago. Maybe about 20 years ago. I was living in France at that time, and I was already liking to drink tea, but I was not very into so much into the origin of tea, or I was just liking to have, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 different tea at home and to change the tea according to the mood or to what I wanted. So I really like to collect different flavor, aroma, but I didn't really invest time and energy to know why I was tasting so different and where they really came from. Enjoy.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
And then I arrived in Yunnan quite randomly. I was artist at that time, and I've been invited to work on an art project in China. So that's how I randomly went in Yunnan, and then for different reasons, which is not actually tea related, I finally moved there. Okay, for different reason or for no reason actually. Didn't really have any reason to move there, but I moved there, and that's how I discovered more tea from the other side. But, it was Yunnan in the 2005-06, which was
Whereabouts in Yunnan was that? Where did you move to first?
I went to different places, but I moved really to Kunming at the beginning, to the capital. Mm-hmm. And a few years later, I moved to the mountain in Linsang and Shishambana, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But it's it was 2005, 6, 7. There was a real boom of pu'er tea, so pu'er tea was very, very active at that time, so you kind of saw it everywhere. So it's how I slowly discovered it, be curious, and without really notice it, I felt into it. So that's how I kind of discovered tea.
Yeah, and I wonder, when you said you came there, you moved there 2005, 2006, while after you had a little art project there, did you speak any Chinese, or I would assume it was a little special to maybe to move to a country?
Yeah,
that's
actually exactly why I moved there. That's why I've kind of attracted me, and the last art projects I did during these few 3-4 years was focusing on about the non-verbal communication. Yunnan, especially, even now, but especially at that time, as it's mostly nobody speak English. So, everybody was only speaking Chinese, and I didn't speak any Chinese. I also didn't really know about the local culture. I mean, most of the people, many foreigners moved to China, have a kind of Chinese dream, you know. They already learn Chinese, or, I don't know, learn Kung Fu or Tai Chi or listen to Gucci, I don't know. They go there to seek for something, but I was there for seeking for nothing. And that is I think why I didn't just travel there, but I moved there. It's because you're lost. You're lost, but for many people you just feel you're lost. I mean, you're lost by you cannot ask anything in the streets. You cannot order any food in a restaurant. You arrive in a restaurant, your menu is written in Chinese. The only things, and nobody speaking English. So of course you can go to place for foreigner, but I never do that. And when you go to the local life, you understand that you're not able to talk. But if for any reason you try the experience more than few days, and you spend 1 month, not 1 month traveling is different. You just take an apartment, you wake up every morning, you go out, you need to eat your breakfast, you don't have choice. Yeah, you notice that it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, by that something is working. It's not working as we used to imagine is working. In the West, you want to eat, I don't know, a croissant or bretzel. You want to eat a bretzel. If you find your bretzel, you will say it's working. If you cannot find your bretzel, you will be frustrated. You will think, it's not working. I want it, it's not working. If you get this point of view in a total foreigner country, then you'll be perpetually frustrated because nothing is working. But actually, after 3 weeks living there, you're still alive. You have spent 3 weeks. So something have been working. So that thing is finally living. And then when you start to understand that it's possible to live in a place without be able to communicate or to communicate without word, because you always find a solution. Then if you can do 1 month, you can do 1 year.
That's interesting.
And actually I moved there to also experience another dimension of life where you also cannot get what you want, but you get something else, which is something which even later in my life are following me. That is the experience, but then you also have something else. You have the excitement of discovering something new. When you're a child, every day of your life is a discovery. You touch something you have never touched. You taste something you have never tasted. When you start to reach, I don't know, 30, it starts to be much more difficult to get surprised. Then you start to need to search for it. You go to a museum to a bit shock yourself with another way of expression. You go to theater, you go to see dance, you go to see things but you really have to search for something new because walking in the street becomes boring. When you fall in a place like Yunnan, especially the Yunnan of 20 years ago, you just go in the streets to exactly try to find something to eat. You're looking for something to eat, but you get back with millions of things. You smell something you have never smelled. You see someone you don't know what he's doing. You taste something you never tasted. You have actually no idea what you're eating. Because you take the menu and you say, I want that. And you don't know. You don't know if it's an insect, a vegetable, a piece of meat, a testicle of buffalo or what. Sometimes it's better to don't know. But you taste something and you discover something. And that's very rich because since your childhood it doesn't happen that every day is full of discovery by just walking in the street. And then when after a few months of that passed, then you come back to your country and you feel everything is terribly boring. You can expect everything gonna happen in your day and it's perfectly happen. And so that's why I came back and finally I move again. And I stay now nearly 20 years in Asia.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean, I can relate to that really, that when you come to a foreign place, you don't speak the language. There's so many new inputs, and maybe coming back to the tea there a little bit, like Kunming, from my knowledge, has one of the very big tea markets, and so when you started to get interest in tea, I mean, maybe for the start it was a very good place to discover a lot of different teas. I assume. I mean, you have a lot of tea shops there, and so you went to tea shops to drink different teas, or how was your way of kind of getting to know a little bit more about tea? That must be different. Must have been interesting as well. I see.
Yeah, the tea market in Kunming was very active in 2005-06. Nowadays, it's kind of boring, but I mean it's fading down. But at that time, it was very the boom. Then after the boom, there was a crash, which was also many things happening. And so it was very fascinating. You have totally, let's say, opened my curiosity. That's probably where I understood that there was something to understand. Because you have like, I don't know, thousands of tea shops
Yeah.
You can it take maybe 20 minutes or half an hour to cross the place. So it's streets full of tea shops, and all of the tea shops are full of tea cake. So it is, I don't know, thousands and thousands of tea, and then you arrive there, you walk, and the first thing you notice is the diversity. You will not find like that 10,000 of different potatoes. Or if there is, it means that there is something behind it. And then some of these tea cake costs €1. That's already fascinating. Can we make a tea cake for €1? But some of them cost €1,000. So what's the difference? Why one is €1, one is €1,000? Some are dark, some are clear. Some look like came from factory, some have a white wrapper. And then you understand that is story behind. You understand that if someone pays that cake €1 and someone else pays that 1,000, and if someone prefers this shop of this shop, it means that they are totally different, but you don't know what is different. So you just scratch and saw that you don't see the culture, because I will not say the tea market is a cultural place, far away not, but you see the size of the culture behind. You see that there is a big world to explore, and then I am in a kind of curious
where all the tea is coming from, which are on the market,
so I'm kind of curious person. So when you're in front of that, you just think, I want to understand. I want to understand why all these tea are so different. So yes, I'm starting to drink a lot of tea there, talking with, I slowly start to be able to talk with people, but then I try to learn what is this tea there, and then after a while you think, okay, I'm already in this area where the tea is produced. On this tea cake you have name of places, so I want to see where the tea come from. So you start to travel. You go to the Shishambana. First place I went to Shishambana was EU, and then you want to see the tea tree, you want to see the farmer, you want to see how they produce this tea, and that's how I kind of slowly try to discover the things. And then, as you say, you learn also from what you hear. So that's how I learn a lot from the first people I can see in front of you, which seems like having a knowledge, which is the tea sellers. And then more you travel, more you have other point of view. And then after traveling in the mountain, you understand that the poor tea age. And you understand that the aging is not at all in Yunnan that happens. So you go to Taiwan, you go to Hong Kong, and you also met a lot of people. We have been collecting the poor for so many years. And then they tell you a total different story. Then you start to understand that maybe what you have heard was not right. And then it started to be tricky, because you was naively thinking that I don't have the knowledge, these people have the knowledge, I just collect all the knowledge. You're just thinking that the understanding of poverty will come from collecting a mass of knowledge. But after a few years, you start to understand that a huge part of the work is that you will have to forget what you have learned the first years. Because objectively, I have to say that's what people say in that tea market. It's far away from the reality. So that's become tricky, because, okay, you learn what people say in the markets, then you see some expert or people have more knowledge, they say something different. But it's kind of easy. You just forget everything you have learned at the beginning. But then you meet another very knowledgeable people, someone like very important in the tea history, for example, a master blender from a state-owned factory, people who have like been from the first people collecting poor. This kind of people which is not just like so-called master, but it's people we kind of very have the knowledge. And then you met another one, and he also tell you something totally different than the previous one. But then you cannot resume as easily as the first one was wrong. And then you start to see how much the house is big, and how much you just start to put a fit on it. Because you understand that you have different realities, which all of them are right.
And
So
maybe also different realities at different places. I mean, pu'er seems to play, a big role for different people. I mean, when I look around here in the mountains and what I've seen before, like the local people who live there, some of them live there since hundreds and thousands of years, maybe, or not thousands, but like really long time here. And then other people who have the interest from outside maybe to buy the tea and do their way. For example, take it to Taiwan or Hong Kong is a whole different approach, I think. So that seems also interesting for me. That pu'er has so different direction and different ways to be consumed, to drink, and I think it's a role. Which I heard you talk about often also before, like what it means to the local people here compared to what other people who come and take the tea leaves also or buy the tea leaves do with that. Maybe you can go a bit into
that is a good question. But the real question is, who is right?
Yeah.
Who is right? You go, for example, to the Yunnan. Okay, you hear so much blah blah and commercial blah blah in the tea market. So you think, okay, anyway, these people, usually the tea sellers, especially at that time, was not in a business since long, Phenomenon arrived quite quickly. You don't have people selling this into a 10th generation, okay? So they are kind of beginner. So, okay, they're wrong. Let's try to find the truth. So you go to the mountain, to the farmer, as you say, and then you think they are right. I mean, they live in the village where people make tea since centuries. The tea tree is 400 years old, 500 years old, and the old people is making tea. I mean, we speak about poor tea. What is poor tea? To who belong poor tea? That's these people who are making it, right? So they know the truth, right? So they are this one, we hold the truth. So you learn from them, okay? Because of course, who is more legit than them? Is their region, their area, their village, their tree. Right. Then the tree age, the tea age. Poor tea is not because it's aging. So let's say you go to Hong Kong. And the Hong Kongese will tell you, yeah, that's what you hear from the farmer. But since when they make tea? Yeah, they make this in generation. But the market was communist market until 95. There was no private producer. So the people making tea is the worker in factories. And let's speak about aging, for example. There's people in the farmer that tell you, okay, that's a good way to do. The old tea tree is better. This way of make is better. And you're gonna age well. Let's speak about that. That is the things you think they are right, because they do, they make it. But then you go to Hong Kong and you see another side. Is yes, they say that, but do they have any HT? Do anybody have drink HT in Yunnan? You don't find any HT in Yunnan. No. You don't drink any HT. How can you think a tea will age well if you even don't know what is the taste of a HT? How do you think your tea is gonna do that if you never tried it? They even don't drink it. Hong Kong has a culture of drinking HT since very long. And they are this one we have bought the tea and keep it and age it and drinking age. So when you hear that you think, okay, you have the legitimacy. You are this one can speak about the tea more than in Yunnan. But the Yunnan told you yes, but who they are, these people in their island to do that. We are this one, we're making it, we know our tea is our tea. So who is right? Who have the truth? And of course, they will tell you totally different things. That's the point. The Yunnan will tell you, no, that's the way to do, and that is a taste, and that is a tree. And in Hong Kong, told you, no, that's wrong. That's not gonna work. That is the real one. And then you go to Taiwan. What Taiwan is telling you? Oh yeah, the Hong Kongese told you that. But the Hong Kongese, they are just businessmen. Yeah. They are just selling the tea. They buy, they sell. What they know is how to make money. Why poor tea began to be famous? Why people starting to be interested about poor tea? is because the Taiwanese found into it his value, and found out to appreciate it, and found how this tea. Okay, the tea cake was in Hong Kong, but nobody was caring about, and the dark tea have been consumed in Hong Kong and produced since long time to drink with dim sum in a restaurant. Who decided that, found that you can taste it, that found that is a high quality tea, see the value inside the tea. So as the Taiwanese, who told us, okay, now this is when we produce tea, we don't understand what you do. This is when we sell tea, just know to make money. But who is this when we found what you appreciate and know how to find an art is us. Then you have front of three reality. Yeah. Another question is, who is right?
Is there, for example, for me, do there has to be like the truth, or isn't there space for like different interpretation of this tea, this phenomenon, phenomenon, perhaps maybe a little bit of a too big word, but why not leaving like the tolerance that some people go this direction, some go that direction? That would be kind of my approach also a little bit to it. And it at least I feel like, because and we know each other now also since about 8 years, that you kind of leave room for the different ways of interpretation a little bit. And I think that's can that be also a way, like for us, from really outside, to try to not need to know the exact truth or need to make the final judgment or something about what is right and what is wrong. Leave room for a little bit of different influences for to first receive and not always judge too easy. It seems like a very human thing to try to say, oh, I'm wrong, they're right, but I think maybe to approach it a little different can, especially for pu'er, I think there's a good chance to be open for the new influences and different influences of using the tea, drinking the tea, and experiencing the tea.
Is that it even go a bit farther for me, but it's the way to what you say, and for me pu'er tea is a very good lesson for that. Mm-hmm. But when you start to accept it for pu'er tea, you notice that you can accept it for so many things in life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's true.
We speak a lot, especially in the West lately, about the idea of tolerance, is what of the word I think you say. Letting room for the other things, and let's tolerate. It's interesting, but for me it even go beyond. Mm-hmm. What is the tolerance is, I know pu'er tea is that, let's say I am a Yunnan people, I know pu'er tea is that, I know that the Hong Kongese is doing something totally different with our pu'er tea. Many people in Yunnan will simply not tolerate it and will say, that is not pu'er tea. And it's very bad. And they use like humidity and they make things which is harmful, and that's not our pu'er tea. The Hong Kongese will answer the same way. What you're doing is not pu'er tea, these green things. It may become pu'er tea after fermentation, but it's not pu'er tea. So that is okay, that is an intolerant point of view. The tolerant one will think, okay, that is the right way to make pu'er tea, that is pu'er tea. We know the Hong Kongese do something different. We don't like it. It's true, nobody drinks that in Yunnan. But it's okay, we tolerate it. We accept it. We are so nice to accept it. It also exists. When I go to the West, I see a lot of that in the comportment of the society sometimes. These people are very different than us, but we tolerate it. We are, we are kind people. But maybe we can go further. I mean by that, the question is not that we can tolerate different vision. The question is even further that pu'er tea is the ensemble of all these visions together. Mm-hmm. This is a very, for me, important key.
It's a nice way of putting it.
It's a very tricky way of thinking, but you have to switch to that way of thinking. It is in the same time two different opposite things. Interesting.
Yeah. Big change now from second to third brew. Whoa.
Actually, I changed the tea.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I missed that point, so I thought that's not possible. Okay,
That's right.
thank
I
you.
switched the country to
Okay, good.
And but that is for me a very important point is that you can accept that poverty is in the same time two different things. It looks abstract, but it's not that much. If you think about there is a reality, like poverty is that, and then you think two reality cannot exist. I mean, this cup is white or is black, but it cannot be in the same time white and black. But we should not see that there is a reality. We should see poverty, and because it's what it is, as a phenomenon.
Okay.
When you look at a movie, inside the movie, you start a movie, like for example, you ask me to explain you what is poverty. In general, I cannot, because you have this different approach. But if you look at a movie, you have different characters in the movie, different people. You cannot resume the movie in one sentence. But if you watch the movie for 1 hour, you know that this one is like that, this one is greedy, this one hates this one wants to kill this one. You end up the movie, you have a crazy mass of information in your mind, you understand every relation between all the characters. And then this whole thing is the movie. Poverty is the same. You cannot resume in one line because it's impossible. It's a phenomenon we have been created in centuries in different places of the world. But if you totally understand the point of the vision of poverty, what means poverty for a Hong Kongese, a Taiwanese, a Malaysian, and a Yunnanese, then it's done. You have in your brain, you have the poverty in your brain, like you have the movie in your brain, and you don't need to define it. Yeah. And then you cross someone when telling you, hey, can you tell me what is poverty in 3 sentences? And no, I cannot. Because it's all of what I have in my brain, and if I resume in 1 sentence, it will be wrong, because I will have to choose one of the point of view. Yeah. And it's like if you download the file, you know, it's connected to my mind, I bring you 1 gigabyte of information, and then you know poverty. So the only way to know is to learn. It's the same that the only way to know a movie is to watch the movie.
Yeah.
So this is the things.
And that definitely needs, I think, time, and also like spending time with it, drinking it, and it's because for you to explain prayer in 1 sentence, you know, I mean, you don't even know what the other person has experienced so far. So I think it's a very good answer that it's not possible really to.
The thing is that people, for example, watch 10 minutes of the movie. Let's imagine the movie starts in Yunnan and go to Hong Kong and Taiwan and Malaysia. The people watch 10 minutes and then they say, okay, I don't have time. I want to know the movie. And you have to watch the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then when you will finish to watch the movie, you will find the question absurd. Because you know the answer.
Sometimes you have to watch it more often even.
Yeah. No, but because you know the answer. So the question is absurd. It doesn't make sense anymore. Actually, you don't answer the question. No. The question disappears.
Yeah.
That's what have happened. I spent like nearly 20 years to search what is poverty. But when you got it, the question itself doesn't have meaning. And then you got it.
Yeah. No.
That's also why, for example, I'm doing...
can tell so many different stories, you know. That's really, it can tell stories to you, and you can,
That's why since many years I'm doing a very advanced teaching on poverty, which is like 2 times 1 full week. And it's for the same reason. I cannot do it in 1 day. I do some like initiation in 1 day. But it's the same. The people come to this teaching full of questions. But at the end of the week, they have no question. They know what is it. But they will also not be able to resume in 1 sentence. But they have the knowledge enough to understand the situation. So it needs a certain amount of time. You know?
Yeah, that's I think that's very true. And it's I myself feel very much in the beginning. You know, I mean, it's now, I don't know, 9-10 years that I drink puer, but I feel very much at the beginning because that's also interesting. I feel there's so many more stories to be read, to be drunk actually in this way.
Yeah.
You drink the stories, and that's one thing which I find very important to really drink it and let it see what it's doing to yourself also. You know, everybody also has a different way of getting the story, and leave room for that. Yeah, so very nice. And there was a lot of nice information. And I mean, with you being like now more than 20 years, like very intensively on the way of tea. So I know it became also your business. That's the way we got to know each other. That you also, I know for you it's one part of your life that you're also doing business with tea, but you're doing so many more things with tea. I'm very happy that there's a business part. That's how we got to know each other. But I immediately saw that there's a lot more behind just the business there for you. But that's probably around how long you're doing that now? 10 years or so. But it doesn't really.
No, more than 15 years.
More than 15. Yeah. Okay. But then and now we're actually sitting in the north of Thailand, and it's a beautiful place, a village where you ended up here. I remember I first got here with this view, and so how did you come here now in the moment to? That's also interesting for me, that how you got here to live here for the moment.
I arrive at the road here. That's the only road driving you to that village. I have moved many times. I spent a few years in Kunming. Then from Kunming, I moved to the mountain in the Linsang area, which is one of the production area of Pur. So I moved there because it's one of the production area. And I spent a few years there, 4 years in a village, in a small village. And then from there, I moved to Shishwambana, which is another area, but very different, tropical south. I was at the border with Laos. And I also spent several years, and same time after a while I took another spot in Taiwan. So I had another, I was 1 feet in Yunnan, 1 feet in Taiwan. Which was exactly what I said before. You see another reality of tea there. I think the two of them very nourish itself. I still like to see the two very important. It's like the two sides of a coin. You have two worlds in tea, which finally doesn't that much communicate, but depend one to the other one. You have the farmer side in the village, which is often in the Golden Triangle, or in Yunnan it's often like a remote place, kind of rough things, where they have a very fascinating connection with tea. But then you have more like the tasting dimension, which is more like in Taiwan particularly, where people have developed an art of tea, which is much more sophisticated, but which is in some hand disconnected to the tree where it comes from. Once again, you cannot choose one. Both go together, but they not that much communicate, but they rely on the other one is interesting. Or they pretend they communicate, but often they don't really understand the other one because it's very different people. So I was liking to have 1 feet here, 1 feet there. And then finally after a while I moved to Thailand, but Thailand mountains, but you know, I never really have like nations and nationalist point of view. You know, I left my country 20 years ago, and I have lived in several countries since. And you say, okay, I'm in China, so now I'm in Thailand. For me, doesn't really change anything. Okay. What is sure is, I always have traveling around the Golden Triangle. Golden Triangle is a cultural area. I'm more trusted about cultural zone. People speaking the same language, or having the same religion, or having the same food, or having the same culture, like tea, than the national approach. I finished my trip in Yunnan. I was so I spent like 12 years in Yunnan, but the last 5 years or what, I was in Shishwambana. Shishwambana is the old Dai kingdom. Is a Sipsambana. I've been colonized by Yunnan, so it looks a part of China, but in reality is a Dai kingdom. At that time I was living at 4 kilometers from Laos. Half of my village, I was living in a small village, like 120 family, wood house in the forest. But most of the people have relative in Laos, and I was crossing the border easily. I couldn't because it's a national border, but they can. The people were speaking Dai, which is very close to Lao. When you are there, you're more in China or in Laos? That's an interesting question. Now I'm living in Thailand, another country, but I am 4 kilometers from Myanmar. Here is Myanmar.
Yeah.
Most of the village here have come at different periods from Myanmar. Some newcomer came 1 month ago because it's a war. Some came 100 years ago. But at some hand, they come all from there. I think more than half of the village don't have ID card.
Yeah.
Because they are Thai or Shan or Thai. That's an important question. But they are very close to the people on the other side of the border. Much more close than the first city, which is 1 hour drive to the other side. So, I mean, for me, what is important in this area is a certain common culture. You have the same ethnic groups in different places. And the tea is one of the important things. Yet you also find old tea tree, and you find a very old tea culture in a part of Myanmar, Shan State, north of Thailand, north of Vietnam, north of Laos, and Yunnan. So actually this area is for me a coherent area. And when I pass from one place to the other place, I feel I'm evolving inside the Golden Triangle. I don't really feel I'm changing the country.
Yeah.
That's the national things, which I have to say I don't really care.
It's nice.
And, you know, that's a big problem for me in tea now. Everybody try to promote, using the tea to promote their nation. It's something that I don't feel it's so beautiful. And also, we speak about Vietnamese tea a lot now, and Thailand tea, and Laos tea, but you know, I don't really care. Here is a tea in Thailand, but I do 10 kilometers that direction. It's become Shan tea or Myanmar tea, and it's gonna be labeled in Myanmar and Thailand. I mean, as it's actually what's important is the village, the origin, the place, you know.
Yeah, it seems geographically and the way what you were describing, this what is now defined also through 5 countries, but like in the middle, this Golden Triangle, that has a lot of similarities, no matter if you really are in Myanmar, Thailand, or Yunnan, or, you know. So that's, and that's how it seems like all these people been doing, like living at a kind of in the same area and not really caring about national borders, and that's, I think, a good approach.
Most of this place of the Golden Triangle have been colonized, have been eaten by the main nation. Shan State have been violently took by Burmese. That's why they're still in war. They're still fighting here. You have here the Shan army. You do 3 kilometers. You have the war army, and they're still in war today because they don't want to be Burmese. And Shan State have never been Burmese. Shishambana have been eaten by the Chinese. I mean, here, I mean, by that, this place have identity in the past. Now they become small part of big country. What connect all this place is actually the elevation. All the dominant nation are lowland people. Chinese Han live in lowlands. Thai people live in lowlands. Burmese people live in lowlands. King people in Vietnam live in lowlands. But if you look at this area in elevation, it makes a triangle. That is a Golden Triangle. Is a highlands peoples. And so they are connected by the land. And tea is a natural thing. So it's connected with the nature and the elevation.
It grows at the same elevation in all these places, And this, I mean, this is also what we've seen the last days. Beautiful nature, forest, biodiversity, also, of course, local agriculture. And also we had the wonderful experience to enter in there's a new like thing I think, I don't know exactly since how long, but you have also a tea garden, which we visited. And yeah, it's a very, very beautiful place. And I really enjoyed just spending time there. And yeah, that was very nice. And you see other places around, you see other tea trees. Some are on slopes where you can easily spot them. Some are hidden in forest, you know, you go along and then, oh, there's a tea tree, you know, and it's very nice. And yeah, it's I hope, and I'm sure it's not the last time we meet here. And now I have the feeling you might be a little longer, because you feel very attached to also that piece of forest there. So we will see.
I don't know.
You don't know? No.
Every time I move to a place, I had the feeling I will stay forever.
Okay, but that's, yeah.
But after a few years,
yeah.
I don't know. I need to
but
move.
That's also good.
I want to move somewhere else.
Good. Yeah.
So I have no idea if I'm going to stay 2 more years or 20 more years.
That's good.
Who knows?
I think that is a very nice, also kind of a very nice ending to leave things open, you know, like leave your own mind open to what happens, receive, not try to plan everything. It's still nice when you have this feeling, wow, I arrive here, oh, it's so beautiful, maybe I probably stay here forever. That's also a good feeling, because that's probably there in that moment, you know. And I also saw how much you enjoyed, like just going through nature, and yeah.
But I trust it less and less, because I start to know myself.
Yeah, okay.
The first time I thought, wow, this place is amazing, I will move here. But then I noticed, no, it's already 3-4 times, so now I more think, I don't know. I have no idea what I will feel in 5 years.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good. I have the feeling we go, like, follow your journey for the next years. That's a feeling I have, and I'm very much looking forward what's all going to happen in your life. And yeah, it's very nice, and thank you very much. At this point, I want to also thank you for sharing all stories, knowledge, and also tea, you know, and like just time together, which is a very, 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 very nice thing, because that's something special in these days, that people are willing to really spend time together, like intensively. I think that's very nice, enjoying tea together, but also talk. And thank you very much for the time we could spend up here.
Thanks.
This visit.
So far away.
Yeah. Oh, I will be back for sure. Thank you. Thanks for a wonderful tea. I realized I was so much into listening. I said, "Whoa, something completely different in my carpet." Thank you. Thanks a lot, and yeah, thanks for joining in. And we see you next time. Bye bye.